entitlement. I mean, I did an interview on this book tour with a conservative talk show host who said, well, don't you think that part of the problem is that people who aren't rich enough and people who aren't established enough are trying to get involved in politics? What? Huh? You know, you're conservative, right? And I'm sure if I said his name, you would all know who he is. But, well, you think I should say it?
Yes.
Are we taping? Michael Medved, you know? And I just could not believe what he was saying. And I said, that's exactly what's wrong with our political system. That the establishment from both sides of the aisle have turned Congress into a favor factory. They're serving their own needs instead of the needs of their constituents. And we need more citizen activists to engage in the political process. And in the book, I define the establishment not as plaguing one ideology, because yes, we all look at the Obama administration and there's plenty of flaws there, plenty of mistakes. But the establishment plagues not only Republicans, but the conservative movement and even the Tea Party movement as well. You see the establishment mindset, well, as I define it, it's an eagerness to step on people in order to get ahead. You know, it's an eagerness, and I really mean that, an eagerness to compromise in order for your own selfish gain. And you're too willing to forego what is right because you see how it'll benefit you no matter who it hurts. And that establishment mindset not just plagues the political arena, but we see it in our workplace, sometimes we see it in our church. But that is what is wrong with America, is that not enough people are willing to stand up and be brave and do what is right, even if you don't ever see the benefits of that in your lifetime. So I'm hoping that more people will read the book and it'll serve as a clarion call. I believe that the Tea Party movement, just like our country, is at a crossroads. I don't need to, you know, based on the conversations I had during dinner, I think you guys can articulate probably better than I could what is wrong with our country. So I think we're all in agreement that we are at a crossroads. But when I say that, I believe the Tea Party movement, and not just the Tea Party movement, but the middle class movement in of itself, is at a crossroads. Because the establishment is trying to say we've reached our peak. The establishment is trying to say, hoping it'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy, that we're too extreme, that we caused the paralysis in Washington, D.C. Again, hoping it'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's why we're at a crossroads. Because how we choose to respond right now, how we choose to respond will determine whether or not we are going to be successful in this second American Revolution, and that truly is what it is. We have anyone from Maxine Waters telling us where to go, or today, you know, Jesse Jackson calling us racists, Joe Biden calling us terrorists. I, of all people, know how hard it is not to respond and defend yourself when these false accusations are hurled at you. It's ridiculously hard, I get it. I have a whole chapter in the book called Rise Above It, where I talk about how frustrating it is. You hear people repeating the lies about you, repeating the misinformation, and you're in it just to help people. It can be really, really challenging to your character not to want to go down there and slam the Constitution on the table and say, you know, show me where in here it says separation of church and state. It does not. And I know that can be difficult. But if we respond to their antagonizing, if we take the bait and react as angry extremists, then we become who they're accusing us of being. And we cannot let them make us into someone or something we don't want to be. We are not angry extremists. We are passionate patriots who are willing to put the next generation ahead of the next election. We are passionate people who are willing to sacrifice for the greater good, willing to take the hits. We cannot become the angry extremists that they are accusing us of being. With that said, right now, we have people within the Republican Party who are saying that we are what's wrong with the Republican Party. I would point to this whole debt ceiling debate to show the great impact that we're having. The mere fact that we didn't just recklessly increase the debt ceiling, recklessly risk the future of our country, the economic stability of our country, shows that this beautiful grassroots groundswell, this love affair with liberty, is having an impact in Washington. And that's why the establishment is lashing out the way that they are. And I would say to them, those who are saying that this Tea Party movement is everything that's wrong, I would say it's everything that's right. And you've heard Karl Rove, which I learned to do gesture at dinner. Let me look at Karl Rove. Did I do it right? Did I do it right? Trying to kick us out of the sandbox because he doesn't like the way we play. Well, you get out of our sandbox. We're the ones who stand for what is right in America. So thank you for teaching me that. But I really sincerely mean that. I am hoping that if we continue to stand on the principles that have made our country great and will still once again make our country great, the establishment will get over their egos, and we, if they extend a hand to us, will be the powerhouse that will make sure that Barack Obama is a one-term presidency. But it's a big if. And most likely they won't. Most likely they're convincing people that this refusal to compromise that we have is what's wrong with our country. Well, what I say to them is we can be pragmatic on that train that's about to derail, and we can be singing Kumbaya on this, beautifully pragmatic car of that derailing train, but this compromise is not going to keep that train from going over the cliff. So we can all be saying, Kumbaya, whatever, while we are all going into the ground. Our country is on the brink of bankruptcy because of career politicians who have supposedly compromised, turned a blind eye to the truth, and have put their next election ahead of the next generation. What we, as a middle-class movement, are doing is saying enough is enough. So if we have to kick them out of the sandbox instead of them kicking us out of the sandbox, again, I love that, we have to know what we stand for. One of the biggest things that everybody is saying is that government is too big. We're bankrupt. We have to know why we believe in limited government, why these principles are great. So in the book, I close, like I said, there are three purposes. One, to set the record straight so that people will get to know me as opposed to the character, and I can laugh at myself, the character that was painted during the campaign, so that people can understand where I came from. My father was an alcoholic, worked 3 jobs, but because of his own humility and love for his family, made amends, did what was right to get our family back on track, and it's a beautiful story of redemption. I didn't come from a lot of means, again, so that people can recognize, if she can do it, so can I. And then the second point was a clarion call.